Hello and welcome to today's lesson, which is on percentage increase and decrease. So let's have a look at this one. Now hopefully you've watched the first video, which was on percentage of amount using the bar method. We're going to use the bar method again here for these examples. But first of all, I want us to think about what we mean by increase and decrease by a percentage. Well, the whole idea is if I'm increasing by a percentage, then what I'm doing is I'm adding that on to what I originally had. So I'm increasing by 10% of what I had. So I'm taking 10% and I'm adding it on. Okay. The other way around is if I'm decreasing by 10%, then I'm taking what I've got, finding 10% of it, and then taking it away. All right. So let's have a look at example 1 here first of all. So increase 70 by 10%. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my bar out. We know that this is 70, which is equal to 100%. We're going to split it up into 10% by splitting it up into 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 50%. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another 50%. So each of these are worth 10%. We know that. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to work out what one of these is by doing 70 divided by 10, which is equal to 7. So I know now that each of these are worth 7. So remember that this is worth 100%. Now the question says increase by 10%. So the whole idea here is we've already got here 100%, but I want to increase by 10%. Now 10% is just one of these, so I need an extra one on there, don't I? Okay, so it's going to be the 70 that I've got here plus this extra 7, so plus the extra 10%. I'm increasing by 10%, so it's going to be 70 plus 7, which is equal to 77. Brilliant. Super. So let's have a go at the next one. I'm going to do the next one for you. So the next one says decrease 50 by 10%. So let's get a fresh piece of paper. In fact, I might be able to move this down and do it down here. Okay, so the next one, example 2. Here we've got decrease by 50%. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to draw my bar out like so. Here we go. Split it up. So I know this is 50, which is equal to 100%. Split it up into 10 parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 10 parts there in total. Super. So let's find out what each of these 10% are worth. Because remember, these are worth 10% each. 10 lots of 10 is 100%. So it's going to be equal to 50 divided by 10, which is equal to, these are worth 5 each. Okay, 5 times by 10 is equal to 50. Now, a little bit different this time. So here with this one, we added an extra column on because I wanted to increase by 10%. This time, I want to decrease. So let's write that down so we've got it in our note. Decrease by 10%, which means I will need to get rid of one of these 10%. So I'm actually getting rid of this 5 here. And how do I get rid of this 5? Well, I'm going to get rid of it by taking it away. Okay, so it's going to be equal to 50%, 50, take away one of those 5s, which is equal to 45, like so. Now you could do 50 take away 5. You could, if you wanted to, see that there's 9 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you could have done 9 times by 5, which is also 45. Or you can do the full 50, take away this one here. 50, take away that one, which is equal to the 45. So there's 2 ways that you can look at this, like so. Alright, so let's have a go at some more of these. So increase 20 by 20% this time. So then we're going to use the bar method again. So here now we've got example 3, increase by 20%. So let's draw my bar first of all, like so. Super. I know that this is worth 20, which is equal to my 100%. Brilliant. I'm going to split it up into the 10 parts. So split the 100 up into the 10 parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Brilliant. So I know that each of these are worth 10%. Super. So let's find out what each of these little blocks are worth at the moment. And I do that by doing 20 divided by 10, because there's 10 blocks. We know that the total of this here is 20. So 20 divided by 10 is 2. So each of these are worth 2. Like so. And remember, I'm increasing by 20%. So increase by 20%. So if I'm increasing here by 20%, well, this is 100%. What do I need extra on here? Well, I need an extra 2, don't I? Because these are all worth 10% each. So I need an extra 10% and an extra 10% there. An extra 20%, which is equal to an extra 2 on here. So 20% is 4. So here I've got 100% plus the 20%. So 100%, 100% plus the 20%, which is this 100%, which is equal to 20, plus this extra little part, which is the 4 here, which is equal to 24. So now I've increased it by 20%. Notice that I've got my 100% and I've added an extra 2 lots of 10 on. I've added on an extra 4 to get 24. Brilliant. So let's have a go now. Example 3. Not much harder again. Sorry, example 4. Example 4. Now this time it says decrease 50 by 40%. So let's draw out my bar, like so. I know that my bar here is worth 50, and that's worth the full amount, which is 100%. Split this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Find out what each of these sections are worth. So 50 divided by the 10 parts, which is equal to 5. So each of these are worth 5. Now remember, with this one I want to decrease by, 40%. So how many of these? If these are worth 10% each, remember these are all worth 10%. Every single one of these is worth 10%. If I want to decrease by 40, I want to get rid of 40%. So I need to get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, which is, how many is that? 5, 10, 15, 20. So I need to get rid of 20, which again we know this is the 40%. So it's going to be, I mean, you can probably see it from here. You could do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 if we wanted to. Or we can do the full amount, which is 50, take away 40%, which is equal to 5, 10, 15, 20, which is equal to 30. I mean, this makes sense anyway, because we've got here 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, which is the same, isn't it? We're doing 50, take away this part here, which is the 30. So it's just a way of visually representing this. Okay, so we've done an increase, we've done a decrease. Let's have a go now, a trickier one, which is when we're looking at, just check that, 24 and 30, super. When we're looking at the 5% and things like that. So, take note, I would recommend using this if you've got no calculator. So this is the best technique if you've got no calculator. Now if you've got a calculator, these are just easy. You just use a calculator to do the normal techniques you use. You could use the multiplier method, you could do divided by 100 times by the percentage. But when we've got no calculator, this is probably the easiest way to think about it. So the next one, increase 60 by 5%. So this one here is example 5. Increase by 5%. So let's draw out my bar first of all. Remember, this bar is worth 100%, which in this case is equal to the 60. I'm going to split it up into the 10%. So 100% divided by 10 is equal to 10%. So I'm going to split it up into 10 parts of 10%. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Brilliant. So remember these are worth 10% each. So let's work out now what each of these sections are worth by doing 60 divided by 10, which is 6. So 6, 6, 6. So all of these are worth 6. Now, we want to increase by 5%. So we know each of these, in fact I'll do them all on here now, are worth the 10%. Every single one of these sections is worth 10%. But I don't want 10%. What do I want? I want to increase by 5%. So to increase by 5%, I want half of one of these 10s. So I'm going to split this up here like so, into half. So if I split 6 up into half, you know it's going to be 3 and 3. And remember, I want to increase, I want an extra part of this. So I want an extra here, 5% of 3. So I'm adding this part on. So here I've got my 60, which is this part here, plus this extra little part here, which is the 3. I mean, you could probably count it all up if you wanted to, but it's going to be an increase of 5%, so it's 100% plus the 5%. 100% is the 60, plus the 5%, which we know is just 60, plus this 5%, which is equal to 3. So 60 plus 3, which is equal to 63. So then I've increased then by this 5%. Super. So let's have a look at the next one. It's a very similar technique now. So this one here is example 6. So example 6. So decrease 80 by 15%. So let's draw out my bar first of all. Like so. We know that this is worth 80, which is equal to 100%. That's my starting point. There we go. I split it in half, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like so. So first of all, I've got to find out what each of these 10% are worth by doing 80 divided by 10, which is equal to 8. So each of these now are worth 8. Okay, if I'm decreasing by 15%, I need to take off 15%, don't I? So I need to take off a 10% and well, what's going to make 15? It's going to be half of one of these, which is going to be the 5%. So let's draw this one here in half. Splitting that up in half, which is going to be 4 and 4 instead. And this is going to be the extra 5%. Okay, so it needs to be 100%. Take off this 15%, so take away that 8 and 4. That's what I need to get rid of. Remember, I'm decreasing by that amount, so I need to get rid of that. So the 15%, we know is the 8 and the 4. So 8 is 10%, 5 is equal to half of the needs, which is 4. So it's going to be 100% decreased by 15%. We know 100% is equal to 80. Take away 15%, which is equal to 8 and 4, which is 12. So 80 take away 12, which is equal to 70, 68. Brilliant. Now we could have done it the other way, couldn't we? We could have counted up. Remember that this part here is worth 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 85%. Okay, we could have counted up this 85% here. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and then the other 5% there, 85%. So you can either count up the 85% or take away the 15%, both of which will give you 68, which is perfect. So, let's have a look at these now. So I've got two here which are a little bit tricky. They're not that much trickier if you know this technique, okay? So maybe pause now and have a go at both of those. I think you should be fine with those. But do have a little go of them. Okay, so let's have a go at this one then. So this one here is example 7. So let's first of all draw our bar out, like so. We know this is worth 140, which is equal to 100%. Super. We'll split it up into our 10 parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Brilliant. So we'll find out what each of these are worth first. So we do that by doing 140 divided by 10, which is equal to 14. Brilliant. So remember, these are worth 10% each. So these are worth 14, 14. Brilliant. So if I want to find 45%, I know I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 lots of 10 there, and half of one of these, which is going to be the half of one of these is 7 and 7, which is going to be my 5% there. Okay, so to find out 45%, it's going to be 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, and 5%, which is going to be 14, 4 lots of 14. So you can either add them 14 4 times, or you could do 14 times by 4, which is equal to 4 times by 4, which is equal to 16, carry the 1. 4 times by 1 is 5, and the 1 is equal to, 4 times by 1 is 4, and the 1 is 5, so 56. But remember, this is only worth 40%. We've also got to add on that 5%, which is equal to the 7. Add those together, we get 45%, so 56 plus 7, which is equal to 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63. So that there is 63. Now remember, it says here, I want to increase by 45%. So it's like taking all of this here, all of this 5%, 45%, and I want to increase my bar by that. So I'm adding that extra bit on there. So I do that by doing my 100%, which is equal to 140. So 100% plus 45%, which is equal to 140, plus the 63, which is equal to 203. Super. Brilliant. Okay, so that was example 7. Let's have a go at example 8. So with example 8, I want to decrease by 40 by 35. So example 8, let's draw my bar out first of all. I know that this is worth 40, which is equal to 100%. Split it up into 10 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Remember that these are worth 10% each. So I then do 40 divided by 10, which means that each of these are worth 4. Like so. Brilliant. Now I want to decrease by 35%. So to decrease by 35%, I'm going to need 30 and 5%. So I do that by doing 10%, 10%, 10%. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 35, and then half of one of these. So half of one of these, which is going to be, oops, sorry, it should be half of the next one, shouldn't it? Half of this one, which is going to be 2 and 2, which is going to be my extra 5% there. So remember, it's going to be all of these now that I want to take away. So 10%, the first 10% there, take away this one, take away this one, and then take away half of one of these, which is 2. So that's going to be 4, 8, 12, 14, okay? So the 35% is equal to 4, 8, 12, and then this one here is worth 2, because it's 5%. Okay. So 4, 8, 12, 14. Now remember, I want to decrease by that 35%. So I need to do 100% take away 35%, which is equal to 40 take away 14, which is equal to 40 take away 10 is equal to 30. Take away another 4 is equal to 26. Super. So, let's have a go at the next question. Okay, so this next question here that I've included is actually one that's taken from a past paper. Now, I've included this one because this horrible percentage, 17.5%, and people always get scared of that. 17.5% is quite tricky, but there's actually a trick for you to work out this one. So, and it does come up quite often. So let's have a go at this one. I wanted a compact display costs £50 plus 17.5%. Okay. So let's first of all, this is example 9. So I'm going to draw out my bar first of all, like so. So we know that this here is worth our £50 this time. Make sure we're using the pounds, which is equal to 100%. Super. So we're going to split this up into 10 parts. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now, we know what each of these parts are worth. So it's going to be 50 divided by 10, which is equal to £5. So each of these is worth £5. Now, the trick with this, and the reason this 17.5% comes up so much, is because a lot of people think about finding 10%, then 1%, then 0.5%, and all of those. But actually, there's a much simpler way of doing this. The way we do is, we know we've got the 10% here, like so. We also want a 5%, okay, which I can find by halving one of these. We've done that before. So half of £5 is £2.50. So this here is £2.50, there like so. So half of one of those is £2.50. So here I've got, let's just make it big so I can see. I know that one of these here, one of my blocks, which is 10%, is equal to the £5. I know that half of one of these blocks, which is 5%, is equal to £2.50. Now, the next thing you need to think is, now this is why it always comes up, because we don't find 1%, we don't do anything like that. The way we do is we find 10%, we halve that to find 5%, and then we halve 5% to find 2.5%. So we're halving this one again. So we're halving the 5%, which is 2.5%. Okay. And so half of 5 is 2.5. Half of £2.50 is equal to £1.25. Okay. So we've got 10%, 5%, and 2.5%. So if we add all those together, we're going to get the 17.5%, which I want. Super. So we add 5 plus £2.50, which is equal to £7.50, plus another £1.50, which is equal to, so that, in fact, I'll do it over here just to make it nice and clear. So I'm doing £5 plus £2.50 plus £1.25. So 0, 0, and 5 is 5. 0, 5, and 2 is 7. And then 5, 2, and 1, so it's 7 and 8. £8.75 is all of these. Okay, so I know that 17% is equal to £8.75. Super. Now, I haven't finished there, remember, because it says it's plus 17.5%. So I actually need to add this on to my total, which was 100%. So I'll do that down here. So we've got 100% plus the 17.5%. 100% is my £50. So £50 plus the 17.5%, which is equal to £8.75. So 50 plus £8.75 is equal to £58.75. Super. So let's just check that. So just a little note there. Sorry, when we are doing this, we need to find 17.5%. We find 10%. Half of that is going to be 5%. Half of that is 2.5%, and then we add those three together to get 17.5%, which is equal to £8.75 in this case, and then we add it on because it's a percentage increase. So let's just check that answer. £58.75. Super. Alright, okay, so I've got one more question to have a little go at. Now this here is your classic problem solving questions. They always come up, these ones. We always see them. So Ria is going to buy a caravan. The total caravan costs £7,000 plus 20% VAT. Ria puts up a deposit down of £3,000 and she pays the rest in 6 equal monthly payments. Work out the amount of each of the monthly payments. So I've put this one up so we can have a go at it, because these questions do come up a lot. Okay, so it's example, what are we at? Example 10 now for this one. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is I need to add the 20% on. So I'm going to do that by first of all drawing out my bar, the bar method. We know this is equal to this times £7,000, which is equal to 100%. I split this in half, and I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like so. I'll find out what each of these are worth by doing 7,000 divided by the 10 parts which I've split up into, which in this case is equal to £700. So I know that each of these, I'm doing different colours so we can see it, each of these is worth 700, 700, 700, 700, 700. All of these here are worth 700. Brilliant. So, if I want to increase by that, then I need to increase this by 20%, it says. So it's going to be this one here, 10% and 10%, which is equal to 2 of these, which is equal to 700 plus 700, which is equal to 1,400. Remember that I'm increasing by that amount, so I need to do 100%, which is this, plus the 20%, I'm increasing by that, which is this. So that's going to be 7,000 plus 1,400, which is equal to £8,400. Brilliant. Now, we've worked out what our percentage increase is, but now we've got to work out the rest, and that's what makes this ever so slightly trickier. So, Ria pays a deposit of £3,000. So that means she pays, before anything, she pays £3,000 off this. So it's going to be 8,400 take away 3,000. So 0, 0, 4 take away 0 is 4, 3 take away 8 is 5. So that's equal to £5,400. And she splits the rest over 6 equal monthly payments. So she's going to split this into 6 payments. So to find that out, I need to divide this by 6. So I need to do 5,400 divided by 6. Now the best way to do that is probably the bus stop method. 5,400 divided by 6. How many times does 6 go into 5? It doesn't carry the 4. How many times does 6 go into 54? Well, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, which is 9. It goes in 9 times. How many times does 6 go into 0? None. How many times 6 go into 0? None. So I'm left with 6 monthly payments of £900. Super. Just make sure you can see that. Brilliant. So I've added my percentage on up here. Nice and easy. He's paid a deposit of £3,000. I've taken that away. And then I work out the 6 monthly payments by dividing that by 6, which gives me 900. So let's have a go now. Let's just check that. £900. Brilliant. Super. So I've got some examples here for you to have a go at. So pause now and have a go at those. Okay, super. I'm going to pop the answers on. So mark these in green. Brilliant, so thank you for watching this video on percentage increase and decrease using the bar method. Do make sure you're having a go at these questions, because remember, the only way to learn maths is to do it, and have a lovely day.